I'm Grahame Steed. I'm the Managing Editor of the Government Opportunities website, which is the media partner for today's conference, and I'm really looking forward to what promises to be an informative, inspiring and most importantly we hope a very useful event for everybody involved today. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping points. We're not expecting a fire drill today, so if the alarm goes off, it is a genuine alarm and we just need to follow the directions from the room that are marked. Please can you make sure that if you have a mobile phone that you switch it off or put it into a silent mode. That'd be much appreciated. There are no changes to the agenda, so we're pretty much on track throughout the day as it's explained in your handouts. And the refreshments will be where you found them this morning. So the mid-morning break and the lunch break will be on the gallery. And in terms of the slides from today's event, those are going to be emailed out to you via a link after the event as well. So before we get started, just a couple of thank yous. First, thank you to the Scottish Government for its support of this event. And secondly, to the event organiser BIP Solutions, which is also the company behind the supply service. And also thanks to you for being here today. We do appreciate that time is precious and that you'll be expecting a return on the time that you're investing. So just a quick word of explanation behind the supporting brands that we have here today. Supply is BIP's engagement programme for small and start-up businesses, and it provides them with not just a comprehensive array of contract opportunities from around the UK, but also some practical assistance in becoming ready to win government contracts. And one example of that assistance is, in fact, today's event. Government Opportunities, which can be found at govops.co.uk, is the online resource for anyone that's either buying for or supplying to the public sector. And it gives you insight into the news, the debates and the issues that are shaping this market. It's a fantastic source of news and insight that you won't find anywhere else. So please check both of these resources out and make use of them. They really exist to help you succeed. Just out of interest, if we just have a show of hands for everybody in the audience at the moment that's currently supplying to the public sector, either in Scotland or in the UK as a whole. You just raise your hands. All right, so yeah, a pretty good representation of that. That's interesting. So it's been just under a year, in fact, since we last held the Supply Scotland SME conference here in Glasgow. A year ago, we were talking about the Icelandic volcano dust cloud and also who is going to be taking charge of the UK government within a matter of weeks. Well, the volcano has gone quiet, which is good, but the new power brokers in Westminster certainly have not. And while many disagree with the coalition's approach to addressing the budget deficit over the past 11 months, it's clear that they're not going to be swayed from their task. And today we're on the brink of Scottish parliamentary elections and spending remains at the top of the agenda here as well. So this is bad news, obviously, for anyone wanting to do business with government. All the news is about cuts, shrinking budgets and efficiencies. Clearly not a market that anyone with any business smarts would want to get involved in. Well, obviously, we believe that absolutely is not the case. Yes, the UK government and the administration here in Scotland is learning to live within far more modest means. The belt is being tightened, not just by one notch, but by several. The government here, and in many, if not most other parts of the world, is looking to a leaner, more streamlined approach, caused by the necessity of reducing their deficits. And it's really a fascinating situation. Most people in this room, as we've identified, are each of three things: a taxpayer, a user of public services, and a current or potential supplier to the public sector. And if you're not a taxpayer, there's a nice man from the Inland Revenue waiting to see you in the coffee break. So, as taxpayers, we're broadly going to welcome the reductions in public spending and the more efficient use of the tax that we pay on our hard-earned wages. As users of public services, we're going to vent about the decline of public services and the infrastructure that we rely upon, and I certainly do every time I crash through another pothole on my way to work. And we demand that they be improved. And as suppliers, we're going to look at the whole thing and think, well, how can we make this work and deliver a profit that's actually worth taking the risk for? And for public sector buyers, there's the added challenge of attempting to deliver more quality services with less resources. And it all adds up to something like trying to attempt a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Every argument feels like it's in the right place, but combined, they rarely line up. Today's event resolves this issue and provides all of the answers. Well, actually it doesn't, but I just wanted to check that you're still with me. Clearly there is no easy answer, and we're going to see a lot of mistakes, deflections, backtracks and denials before we emerge into the brave new world of totally effective, efficient government, if it's actually possible to get there at all. But in my view, that's where the good news lies, because what we're also going to see are opportunities. Opportunities for businesses like yours to compete and take a share of what is still the largest single market in the UK at around £220 billion, and in Scotland at around £8 billion. So with all of this talk of cuts and reductions, we need to bear in mind we're still talking about a vast, huge, diverse marketplace here. And so yes, these are times of friction and disruption, and that's fantastic, because these are exactly the times in which smart, savvy, ambitious and brave businesses can thrive. And stability, as we know, creates little of lasting value. So our speaker lineup today represents both the public and the private sectors, leading figures within government, suppliers, experts in tendering and enterprise. And as you'll see from the agenda, we've condensed an awful lot of expertise and advice and knowledge into a relatively tight schedule. So please think of today as a concentrated dose of the intelligence, insight and of course engagement that you need to compete more effectively. The speaker biographies do speak for themselves, so I'm not going to waste time on repeating what I'm sure you've already read. But I do thank each of the speakers today for their time and really appreciate the effort that they've put into their presentation.